A Livingston Parish Council meeting for March the 2nd, Tuesday, 2023. March the 7th. Yes, my brother's birthday. What did I say?
Second.
Oh, March the 7th, 6 p.m. Before we get started, Ms. Caroline, would you be so kind as to call the roll to make sure we have a quorum?
Yep. Ms. Sandifer? Here. Mr. Delatte?
Here.
Mr. Mack? Here. Mr. Ard? Mr. Burlinghouse? Mr. McMorris? Here. Mr. Talbert?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Wascom?
Here. All right, can we all stand for an invocation? I'm going to have the honors tonight. Lord, we just take this moment to come before you and say thanks for all your blessings and your mercy and your love and for looking out for us. In spite of ourselves, you still take care of us. You care for each one of us more than we can imagine. And at the end of the day, we may be surprised, we may be angry, we may be happy, but you're unshaken and solid because you see the beginning to the end. Help us to put our trust and our faith and hope in you and treat one another as you would treat us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What item 15? Okay. When just to let everyone know, check your cell phones just to make sure, keep them on silent if you need to, or just keep them quiet if you don't mind. We will have public input on any item as it comes up. I have a card for one item, but if you did not sign up a card, please raise your hand, and I'll do my best when that item comes up that you want to speak on.
The library.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think it's item 15. When it comes up, I'll call on you then, and I'll try to give as many people as we can to speak. And when that time comes, if you would, try to keep your comments to 3 minutes and try not to repeat yourself. And if someone gets before you and says the same thing, for sake of time, just try not to repeat what someone else has already said 3 or 4 times as well. Yes. For the record, Mr. Ard's here.
Got it.
So does that answer your question? Okay. We have some presentations tonight. The first one is Mr. Jason Amato. Mr. Jason, you want to tell us, would you happen to be running for a specific office?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Would you take a minute and tell us
Thank you
about that?
also, members of the Livingston Parish Council. My name is Jason Amato, and I'm a candidate for State Representative, District 81. As you're well aware, Clay Scheck-Snyder is our current state representative, and he's term limited. Before I get into who I am, and I do want to wish Coach Bourgeois and the French Settlement boys basketball team best of success tomorrow, and also for the French Settlement fans who are traveling back and forth to Lake Charles, safe travels. So I am a candidate for state representative. My wife Nancy and I, she's with me tonight now. We have 2 daughters. Our oldest daughter, Randy, married a wonderful young man from right up the street in Livingston on Georgia Street, Mr. Wyatt Stewart. And our youngest daughter is in her 2nd year at law school at LSU. I've been in public service now for 23 years. I was the first Republican ever elected in St. James Parish, which I'm pretty proud of that. Served 7 years for the town of Lutcher Alderman, and the last 16 as a member of the St. James Parish Council. In addition to that, I have also been the Lutcher Volunteer Fire Chief, and I'm currently serving as Speaker Scheck-Snyder's appointment to the statewide Louisiana Transportation Authority. Little side note now, Nancy and I are members of St. Joseph Catholic Church in Paulina. We had the opportunity to serve with Father Jason when he was there with us before he came here to French Settlement. 3rd degree member, Knights of the Columbus. I do teach 7th grade religion on Mondays, and a member of Pelican Point Golf Club. People ask me all the time, Jason, how you like being in politics? And I tell them 2 answers. I said the first one, when Lutcher's winning, LSU's winning, and the Saints are winning, it's easy. Everybody's happy. But boy, them couple years where we were all losing, that's when I started getting calls about drainage, potholes, and stray dogs. The second answer is probably the same as you, huh? There's a lot of satisfaction in helping our residents, but there's a lot of frustration trying to help our residents because government is government. And, you know, for me, one of my strengths is working through those barriers in government and all and helping improve the quality of lives for our residents. I am prepared to be the next state representative in District 81, and I'll leave you with these 3 points. First one, as your next state representative, I am committed to having the District 81 office in Livingston Parish, preferably somewhere in the French settlement area. That way, as our residents come from Springfield, Killian, or take the scenic route from Lutcher, Sorrento, and all, it's kind of central, so I'm committed with that. Here's the second 2 points I want to leave with you, and hopefully, I'm going to throw some numbers at you. Both Nancy and I come from large families. I am one of 87 first cousins. Our oldest daughter, Randy, is grandchild number 139. Our other daughter, Rainey, is grandchild number 167. In May, when we have our first grandson, I was telling my mom the other day, you need to update the list because your guess is as good as mine of where is he going to be with great-great-grandchild. I tell you that for 2 reasons. Just like you, I've been on that side of the table in St. James Parish where we had candidates come before us expressing interest about running for office, and they had 0 ties to the community. 1 or 2 things happened. Either they lost, which wasn't a bad thing, or somehow they got elected and we wouldn't see them again for 4 years. Nancy and I have a tremendous circle of friends and family, with a number of them living here in St. James Parish. I'm sorry, in Livingston Parish. I just recently retired from Shell and Geismar, 650 employees, 1,400 contractor friends. In my role, I knew almost all of them. They also live here in Livingston Parish, so I'm committed to working with all of you, working with our Livingston Parish delegation in Baton Rouge to seek the funding, the projects, and everything else that's needed to support you to be successful, but also to help improve the quality of life for our residents here in Livingston, Ascension, and St. James Parish. God bless each of you. God bless this beautiful parish of Livingston. And Mr. Chairman, I yield the rest of my time back to you.
Mr. Abata, thank you so much for coming and letting us put a face with the name, the signs we see on the road. You know, you see the signs, but you don't put a face. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item B is a proclamation to announce the Love the Boot Livingston Parish-wide cleanup event on April 22nd. Ms. Sandy, do you have a proclamation for that, or is someone here to speak for that?
I'm not here, so maybe we could push it back to the...
Let's defer that till the next
March 23rd.
plea. Item 8, discussion of the Denham Springs townhomes located in 31164 Louisiana Highway 16, Denham Springs. This was added to the agenda by Mr. Maury Scooter King. Mr.
Yes, sir. I imagine we got a few folks that need to speak to us. I know when we left last time, I told everybody, please look at the packets, and then they sent an amendment to it showing the numbers, and I think it's going to be a great idea for my district.
All right.
I support it, yes.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against? Okay, go ahead. Come on, give us your name, address, where you live, and tell us what you got.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Levine, Executive Director of Millennium Properties, 4152 Canal Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70119. In your honorable role as a council, you make important decisions. Sometimes the rules, which we acknowledge are crafted with good intentions, require some flexibility. And when we have the type of unique situation as we have with Denham Townhomes, which is funded under a new state program for middle market housing, and because of external factors outside of any of our control, which necessitate unique solutions to ensure Livingston Parish remains the great place it is to live, work, shop, start a business, educate your children in, and raise a family in. I'm here tonight, again, I was here 2 weeks ago, to ask for your approval of a tax abatement which will allow for 102 new, resilient, and quality homes for Livingston Parish's working middle class. This tax abatement was not part of our original budget. It will close the gap resulting from federal interest rate hikes and skyrocketing costs we faced over the last year. With an approval tonight, we will move full steam ahead to start construction with the state's $13 million investment to bring these new homes online by the end of 2024.
Oh, good, good.
Dr. Richardson's economic report concludes that Denham Townhomes will bring up to $5,380,000 in sales tax revenue to Livingston Parish, compared to just $8,600 if not built. You brought up valid concerns about the infrastructure cost from these new apartments. The site is centrally located on a state highway. There is no expansion of services needed. According to Dr. Richardson, public services do not depend on property tax alone. As an example, property tax makes up less than 3% of the Livingston Parish School Board budget, while sales tax makes up 77%. Public services are better off with major sales tax increases. Dr. Richardson is an economist. The data is in black and white in his report, which you have copies of. The $5 million in local economic benefit Denham Townhomes will generate does not include the social value in keeping Livingston Parish's middle class in Livingston Parish, in providing homes for the teachers needed in local classrooms. This is housing intended for Livingston Parish residents. At the end of this pilot term, we will have recapitalized, and the parish will begin to receive our full market property tax payments on a much more valuable property than we have today. As a subsidiary of Volunteers of America, we are in the business of serving the community in which we are in over the long term. We were founded in 1896, and we're not going anywhere. I am announcing here tonight that we will establish a set-aside of a minimum of 35% of the total apartments for first responders, military, EMS, firefighters, deputy sheriffs, and teachers who are already living in Livingston Parish, but still struggle to make rent and who are doing without. We urge you to not pass up this opportunity for the parish to utilize this unique award of $13 million in state funding for the 2016 flood. And we respectfully ask for your approval of the resolution before you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vanessa.
I appreciate
I think you
that.
did a good job of just explaining. Mr. Gerald McMorris.
I have a question for her, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So after you get through building out of these homes, apartments, who's going to be taking care of all your maintenance? I didn't see any of that in here when I read through it. Who's the people that's going to be taking care of this apartment complex once you are done and you're out of Livingston Parish?
So, in fact, we're an owner and a property manager, and I have our Director of Property Management, Mr. Jason Straley, here. Jason, could you respond to this question? So we will be contracting with local Livingston Parish groups, companies.
Give us your name and address, please.
Certainly. Jason Straley. It's 4152 Canal Street in New Orleans. To answer the question, we are owners and developers and property managers. We hire locally for management, for maintenance, contract locally for landscaping, pest control, for 99% of the things that the property would need.
So ask you again, how long are you going to be responsible for it? I don't see it in here. After you get through build out and get them all rented out, then you're going to scoot out? I'm asking a question. I'm trying to figure it out for
No, sir.
myself.
So as,
Because I see this down
Yeah.
where I work, and I pass by them. I just want to make sure I understand it, because I don't want the same thing to happen here in Livingston Parish that we see down south. You understand?
I do. So we've actually never sold a property. So, and it's our intention to hold those assets.
We're in the
Housing industry.
We're in the housing, we're a subsidiary of a housing nonprofit. Our goal is to provide housing for long-term ownership, to manage it. That's why we have in-house property management. And, what we'll do is, and that was one of the things that we're planning is, at a certain point, after you build these apartments, you go forward, in time, and they're going to need improvement. So we recapitalize, so we'll refinance, the value goes up, we bring in replacing roofs, updating kitchens, increasing the value of that. And so you get this value over the long term. And what I was trying to make the point of is if you look at the pilot term, once that expires, the property taxes will be, you'll receive those full value property taxes at that time. And it's an investment for the future, and we will be here, and for the long haul. That's our mission, and that's our commitment.
I thank you for your response. That's a long time, though, to 2045.
No, we've been here for
So
126 years, but I understand it's
Thank
a
you so
long
much.
time for a payout, and I get that. Thank you.
Any more? Oh, give us your name
I'm
and
glad you got up.
where your
Don't
camp
be
is.
too hard on me.
who's that guy?
That's all I do.
Eddie Idell, 19110 King George Bay Road, Livingston, Louisiana. I know it's hard to give up something. I appreciate that as much as you guys. But I do, I wouldn't have got up here and stood up here if I didn't think that this was going to be something good for Livingston Parish. These are employed people that are in that bracket. They are going to be our teachers, firemen, our police officers. And I don't have any reservations about asking you guys to please consider it and vote for it. We're not the architects, we are the civil engineers on the project, and we're going to make sure that it doesn't adversely affect anybody upstream or downstream from a site civil standpoint. And the program that these guys have submitted to us, I think it's something that Livingston Parish would be proud of. So I don't have any reservations about asking you guys to support it.
I just have one comment to Eddie. I'm going to beat you up a little bit. The work you did on this is really good. I like it. It's going to be beautiful in that area up 16. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'd make a motion to accept the resolution.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. King. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We've got a second by Mr. Shane Mack. Any discussion in the audience or from the board? None being, Ms. Caroline, would you call for? Now, look, this would be to accept resolution approving the annual payment. Scooter, is this correct? Resolution approving the annual payment and the memorandum of
We can do them
understanding?
both
Is that what you
together.
need, Eddie?
I don't think, do we need to do them separate,
Between the
Ms. Sandy?
Capital Area Financing Authority and Millennial Properties. Okay.
Yeah,
So
we'll
we
do
have
them
a
together.
motion and a
Yep.
second by Mr. Mack. You want to call for the vote?
Stanford,
No.
Mr. Gilat,
Yes.
Mr. Mack,
Yes.
Mr. Ard,
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse,
No.
McMorris,
Yes.
Mr. Talbert,
No.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is item
Carries.
to adopt the minutes of the February 23, 2023 regular meeting of the Livingston Parish Council. Ms. Sandy, I think you've had those put together.
Did we do both of those together?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did both together. Just make sure.
Email them this evening. to
Okay,
y'all.
everyone saw the minutes. We've had them mailed to us. Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Glatt, second by Mr. Girlinghouse. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next is the parish president's report. Mr. Ricks had called me and asked me to read the proclamation. This is March is an American Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank everyone, everyday heroes, those who reach out to help neighborhoods when they're in need. American Red Cross heroes are on the front lines every day. They volunteer their time, give blood, take life-saving courses, provide financial donations to help those in need. We'd like to remember our heroes here in Livingston Parish who give to help people in need. They work tirelessly to help in time of disaster when someone needs life-saving blood or in the comfort of a helping hand. They provide round-the-clock support to members of the military, veterans, and their life-saving families, classes in CPR, aquatic safety, and first aid. Across the country and around the world, the American Red Cross responded to hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, wildfires, and the tragedy of Boston Marathon and Typhoon in the Philippines. When an injured service member ended up in a hospital far from home, the American Red Cross offered comfort when a hospital patient needed blood. American Red Cross blood donors helped them. And when a lifeguard jumped in to save a drowning child or someone stepped up to help a heart attack victim, the American Red Cross was there. We dedicated the month of March to all those who support the American Red Cross mission, prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Our community depends on the American Red Cross, which relies on donations of time, money, and blood to fulfill its humanitarian mission. So therefore, I, Leighton Ricks, duly elected parish president of Livingston, I'm not going to comment on that one. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution of the laws of Livingston Parish and Louisiana, do hereby proclaim March 23rd as American Red Cross Month. I encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. Is there a motion to accept the resolution? Motion by Mr. King, seconded by Mr. Girlinghouse. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Should let Mark read that one.
I know it was a little long, y'all, but we had to muddle through. Let's see here. Item 11, the Livingston Parish Grants Department. First item is a resolution authorizing the parish president to enter into a contract agreement with Alvin Farabin and Associates.
Yes, I apologize
I think they're
for
Denham,
that.
yeah. To perform engineering service for the town of Killian. Mr. Harrell?
Yes, sir. We voted on this a while back to move forward with this project. Unfortunately, Killian has exposed water lines throughout the city. This is going to correct some of that, and Alvin Fairburn and Mr. Idell was the top one on this, so we asked for a resolution.
I'll make that motion, Mr.
authorizing
Chairman.
that.
Motion by Mr. Delat, seconded by Mr. Ard. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carried. Next item is B, resolution authorizing the parish president to enter contract with Fort and Tablada to perform engineering services for Hills Washout Project. Can you tell us about that, Mr. Harrell?
It's a FEMA project. Tickfall River washed out part of the road, and Fort and Tablada was this high-scoring firm on this, and we asked for a resolution authorizing the parish.
I'll make that motion.
This is in Mr. Jeff Ard's district.
Shane Mack.
Shane Mack. We probably share it, but.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So motion by Mr. Shane Mack,
Yeah, let me second it.
seconded by Mr. Ard. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Appreciate you finding those funds, Mr.
Any opposed?
Mr. Mark.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind me saying that you did a good job with the proclamation.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harrell.
Representing the parish president. And you do have more hair than he has, so.
Well, that's why you got all that facial hair.
It ran down.
It makes up for it with that facial hair.
All right, all right, all right. All right.
Don't even want to touch that.
Item 12, adopt a resolution to divide a lot within a named subdivision, Satsuma Ridge, and to reduce the required servitude width to 40 foot. This is located in Mr. Ard's district.
Yes, and this is, she's just splitting up 2 lots behind her house for her kids. She's not trying to make a servitude to no big piece of property or anything, so I'll make the motion. I'm good with it.
Motion by Mr. Ard, seconded by Mr. Keene. Is there any discussion from the audience? From the council? Oh, we have Mr. Wade Holden. I remember you from the last meeting. Is that correct?
I rode out here and we checked on these lots or whatever. What lot is it exactly?
It's just right behind her house.
No. There's no information for the public to know what lot we're even talking about. Is it lot 5, 6, 7 of that subdivision? Because that subdivision's already been divided before.
Which lot?
This is.
And the lot sizes are between
It's off of
165 and
Macklin Road.
Sir?
It's off of Macklin Road.
Correct.
Lot A1.
A1. This lot's already been divided once already. Take that in consideration when we're making these 40-foot lots. Thank y'all.
This is not
Thank you, Mr.
40-foot lots.
It's just a servitude, right?
Yeah, it's not 40-foot
You
lots.
made a motion, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
143, right?
I second it.
Motion by Mr. Ard, seconded by Mr. Latt. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None being? So it's a servitude, like you said, not a lot.
It's just a
You're right.
servitude, yeah.
Item 13 is a request to authorize a waiver of sign placement and wetlands letter for Ryan Pierce located on Louisiana Highway 42. This is in Mr. Delat's district.
This is 2 tracts of property of 8 acres total, and they're creating 3 additional lots. So planning has added the 2 previous tracts and the 3, and counting it as 5. So now I have to ask for a waiver. Even though it's only 3, I have to ask for a waiver. So I want a waiver for the wetlands letter and the sign placement, even though it's only 3 lots.
All right, is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll second
Oh,
that.
a motion by Mr. Latz, seconded by Mr. Keenan. Is there anyone in the audience to speak for or against this? None being, any from the council? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ms. Caroline, would you call for the vote, please?
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Delat?
Yes?
Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. McMorris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
No.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Item 14, board reappointments and resignation. First one is A, Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau. Mr. Delat has a tourism board appointment.
Mr. Joey Fontenot has the letter and the contact information. I'd like to make,
Contact information.
I'd like to make that motion.
A second.
To appoint him? Is
Yes.
that- Okay, motion by Mr. Delat, seconded by Mr. McMorris. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next one is item B, Livingston Parish Airport District. Mr. Delat.
Mr. Jerry Lobel has resigned because of health reasons. I don't have his appointment yet. I'm working that out and hope to have it by next meeting.
We'll defer that one.
Yes, sir.
Item C, Livingston Parish Fire District, number 9. Mr. Delat, you had appointment on that one as well.
I have 3 appointments on that one. I want to reappoint all those terms that expired. Can I do them all together, Mr. Chairman?
That's fine with me. Let's call them and get them done.
Okay, Michael D. Hood, Patrick Lacey Luke Jr., Keith Landry, all 3 of those.
Ms. Sadie, did you get all those, or have you got that information already? All right, motion by Mr. Delat. Mr. McMorris made the second. Anyone speak for or against? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, Livingston Parish Fire Protection District, number 1. Mr. Mack, I think you have an appointment on
Appreciate that.
this.
So we've got 2 board members that we need to reappoint to Fire Protection District Number 1. That's Mr. Benton Morgan and Lisa Stilley Vaquera. They've been working well with the board. Everything's flowing very smoothly. Things are going really well, and I'd like to reappoint those. I'd like to make the motion to reappoint them.
I'll second.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Mack, seconded by Mr. Ard. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, last one on the board appointments is Gravity Drainage District 5. Mr. Girlinghouse.
Yes, I'd like to reappoint.
Reappoint or is this to replace?
It's a reappoint.
Okay.
Tony Parrott Dugas.
Second.
She's been on the board for, I guess, 4 years now. They've done a lot of, I've asked a lot of them over there, and they've come through. She likes what she's doing, so.
You got that, Sandy, the name? Motion by Mr. Girlinghouse, seconded by Mr. King. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is item 15. This was placed on by Mr. Gary Talbert. It's the Library Board of Control. I guess we could open it up and let the public speak first, if you want to do with that, or did you have something you want to?
I'll tell them what we're.
Okay, let's turn it to
People probably
Gary.
want to know what we're talking about, so I'll be glad to talk to them about it, and
If
then
you
they can
could-
come speak.
If you want to.
The Attorney General issued an opinion, Aaron, 3 weeks ago? The new opinion on the fact that parish councils can change out boards at will on the library control boards, members. I had appointed Ms. Debbie Henson. She was at my previous, the councilman before me's appointment, and I'd appointed her once before and re-upped her probably last year in '22. And I had reached out to her on a couple of occasions to talk to her about the current situation on the library. And she returned my call one time, and I missed it, and I tried to call her back, and we just haven't been able to hook up. It's been a very important discussion to me, and when the council had sent a resolution to the library board requesting they do something, and they kind of gave us the whatever back, and just kind of ignored us, said they could do what they wanted to do. And then I sent a letter to the board and emailed all the board members, and basically how I felt about things, and got no response. I just felt it was time for a change. I actually had somebody to appoint today, and got a call from her earlier today, and based on the fact that the board director resigned, and there were some fairly nasty emails that traded and some pretty rough comments on social media, She just felt at this point in time she didn't want to serve. So I would like to make a motion to remove my member, Ms. Debbie Henson, and I will continue to do diligent research within the community and look for a replacement.
Okay, so let's see if there's a second for that motion. So your motion is to remove her?
Yes.
And then not to appoint someone right now? Okay. Well, there's a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. King seconded. Okay, discussion. Let's start with the gentleman who turned in a card, I believe. Is that Mr. Larry Davis? Is that correct? Give us your name and address, Mr. Larry, and...
Yep, 9124 Millikins Bend, Denham Springs, Louisiana, 70726. I just wanted to echo what the councilman has already said, that the Attorney General has made an opinion about this, and precedent has been set since the 80s on the council's role to appoint or remove at will, because we serve at the pleasure of our council members.
Mr. Larry Davis, thank you so much. I think we had some hands in the back. All right, let's start over here, and you know, if you could just run through them. Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Marla Elsey, 30933 Creek Bend Avenue, Denham Springs. I had a prepared statement based on the fact that we knew nothing about this agenda item, so that's changed a little bit now that Mr. Talbert has shared what he did with us. I will say, speaking of Miss Debbie Henson not getting back with you appropriately, I reached out to all the council ahead of time asking if you could share what this agenda item was going to be about, and I got no response, including from you, Mr. Talbert.
Yes, ma'am.
So
What's
to
your
be
name?
fair,
What's your name? I'm sorry.
Marla Elsey.
I think
I emailed you all.
I replied to you.
No one told me what this agenda item tonight was going to be about. So, as far as Ms. Henson is concerned, there's no reason not to leave her on the board. The only reason I feel that you don't want her on the board is that she's not voting the way that you want her to. The reappointments, even if her term were up, which it's not, reappointments are common. We just saw 3 different council members reappoint people to other boards. There's no reason to remove her. If you do remove her, who would you replace her with? I know that in January, every member of this council received an endorsement letter for Francine Smith to be the next person that's considered for any open spot that comes up on the library board. That letter was signed by community members, including lifelong educators, librarians, business leaders, and the assistant superintendent of schools. Ms. Smith is a military veteran, as well as an educator and librarian who has served this parish for decades. So if you have an open seat in the future and you pick anyone besides her or anyone who has fewer qualifications than her, then you're merely going to shine a light on the reality of what your actions are. This is not what, I don't feel that this is about what's best for our libraries or best for our children or best for our community. I feel that this is a series of political moves designed to perpetuate homophobic censorship and attempts to gain favor among those who might fund your next campaign. And now, as of yesterday, this foolishness has caused us to lose our award-winning library director. And I would ask you if that's really what you wanted, but I think it probably was what you wanted. So I'll ask you this instead. Who do you think will want to come here? What library director do you think that's worth their salt is going to want to come here and work under these conditions? We have an amazing library system. It has grown and succeeded for decades with massive support from the community. Every time there's a vote to renew the taxes, it's supported very favorably. And your recent attempts to censor the content, manipulate the board vote, spread untrue rumors, and hire people who violate library policy and evade the protections that are in place is going to be its downfall. Leave the library alone.
Was there another hand of someone to speak? All right, if you don't mind, come and give us your name and address, and again, try to keep it to 3 minutes, and if you could, and if you...
Just going to remind her.
I feel like I'm on trial.
No, be comfortable. Look, just...
I'm actually Francine Smith that she referred to, that they had sent a letter about.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually here to advocate for Debbie Henson, not myself.
It's okay. It's quite all right.
Yeah. Debbie Henson is a wonderful person. I actually got my master's in library science and spent a lot of time with her at Live Oak Middle. And it just breaks my heart. You know, I see what's happening to the library, and it bothers me. You know, it is a great library system that, I'm sorry, I'm menopausal.
That's okay, that's all right, that's all right.
I would like for you to reappoint her if you could. I know I don't know what your procedures are, but I know that Debbie is probably the most ethical and honorable person I've ever met. And if she voted a way that you didn't like her voting, which I saw in the January minutes, you referred to that you were going to remove her because you didn't like the way she voted.
I don't think she was there in January.
No, I'm talking about you. The minutes from the meeting here, you said you weren't happy with the way your member voted, and you were looking at removing her and appointing yourself, which you found out you couldn't do. But Debbie, you know, she follows like things to the letter of the law. And if you've ever looked at this, I'm sorry, I'm taking longer than 3 minutes. This handbook for Louisiana Library Trustees, all these rules are in there. And just like you have your, Robert's Rules, right, that you follow, you know, and you're supposed to govern based on what's best for the people, not what's, I guess, what you believe, correct? So Debbie voted a certain way based on the ethical responsibilities that are set out in this handbook. And one of them says that trustees must be prepared to support to the fullest efforts of librarians in resisting censorship of the library. Oh, God, I'm so nervous. I teach school, and you wouldn't think I'd be nervous.
It's different when you're standing in front of
Anyway, I just really I hope that you could consider reappointing her if at all possible. I know there's rules and stuff, but somebody gave me a question, and they wanted to know if you're not going to reappoint her, what qualifications are you going to, you know, hold somebody or have some, or I guess, what qualifications do you want somebody to have in the next board member? Because, you know, Debbie's the only person on the board who has a library degree. She has a master's, you know, and, you know, that's a lot of money. And I feel like, you know, somebody like Debbie has done a really good job, and the rest of the board members as well. You know, you were on the board, Ms. Sandifer. You know, I'm sure that, you know, you saw that they were very methodical, and they're very, I guess, meticulous about the way they spend the taxpayers' money, you know, and trying to provide resources that the community wants, you know. So just think about that.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
All right, we had, okay, let me catch this side before, you got a gentleman right here? And how many other hands we got, real quick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oof. I counted. All right, let's help run through here for us, buddy.
Gus Holden, 20384 LA Trace. I personally know how Mr. Talbert likes to bully people. He's bullied me. He's tried to do serious things to our properties. And also, Mr. King.
Let's try not to call, I mean, if you would, just talk about the library, okay?
Mr. King called my brother at the last council meeting a dumbass on the microphone, and we could hear him.
Okay, look, why don't you go, just go ahead and sit down. We want to talk about the library. Ma'am.
That's what he said was stupid.
I am Catlin Roberts of 34992 Quail Creek Drive. We've had one of the best libraries in the state for decades. I don't understand why the parish council now is trying to fix something that's not broken. You've stated before, Mr. Talbot, that you're against censorship and then say that we need to get rid of rainbow books. That is censorship. We have LGBT folks in Livingston Parish, and that's targeting a marginalized group. Y'all know there's not porn in the library. Not in the children's section, not anywhere. Look, LGBT books for LGBT folks are not porn. Our librarians have compromised on everything that's been asked of them so far, and it's just never enough. Politicians, you are using the library and librarians to pander to voters with a made-up controversy for votes. There are already policies in place to protect the children. The public library is not a babysitting service. Parents are responsible for their own children. The library is there to service people from all walks of life, of all ages. So one small part of the community cannot dictate what the rest of the community can and cannot have access to at the public library. I think that's the main point of the pushback for what you're trying to do. I just want to know one time in history where the people in power restricting the public's access to information are the good guys. Knowledge is power, and there's not porn at the library. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to narrow it down to, say, 2 more. So would y'all pick one of y'all 2 to come speak? And then I'm going to call on 1 more, and then that'll be enough. I mean, I think we've pretty much getting our point across. Yes, ma'am. Give us your name and address.
I'm Arita Ho. I've been a librarian at the Livingston Parish Library going on 20 years. I've been a friend of Debbie Henson's for about 40 years. We grew up together. She grew up in a Christian home. Her father and my father taught school together. So I can vouch for her. She's excellent. She's the best person that could be supporting this library system. Now, I brought out 2 things that I would like to point out that I've accomplished in this library, along with a lot of other things that's accomplished in this library. I'm a librarian who orders all the books for the library, no matter what they are, who they want. I don't discriminate. I ordered books for this gentleman, Giuseppe Rizzi. When he was 12 years old, he wanted things about flying airplanes, airplane, all kinds of stuff that I thought were for adults, but I went ahead and ordered for him. His parents and family homeschool him. His father works with Lego. You know Lego?
Yeah, Lego, yeah.
Lego works for that. And he and his family do things at their house. When he got through with school, after all the things I did for him, helped him, further his education and do it for his family as well, he wrote a book, a science fiction book. He dedicated part of it to me and included me in a newspaper article. That young man has gone to Texas and got not just a bachelor's, but a master's degree and is a successful engineer. He and his family feel like the library
helped them
do everything. This other woman, 70 years old, I'm also a computer instructor. I teach all the computer classes for the library system in Denham Springs. She came to me. She wanted to learn how to use the computer. She took all my classes, did one-on-one sessions. Before it's over with, she started telling me she's going to write a book. She wrote a book. When she got through, she says, I want to do a newspaper article about what you've done. She put it in the newspaper, dedicated part of it to me. That is helping her with her retirement now. Now.
What is your first name again?
Arena Ho.
Arena, okay. Ms. Arena, if you would wrap it up, if you don't mind.
I'm 65 and I was getting ready to retire, and just recently, our library system decided to start a program helping people with digital literacy, helping them learn how to use computers and things. The director, our wonderful director, who I graduated from college with in grad school, came to me and said, Arita, you're the instructor for all these classes. You're the only one that does this. I want you to be involved with this and learn this. I did. They said, okay, we're going to start teaching all these classes. I said, okay, we need to come up with handouts. How are we going to do this? Is anybody going to help me? No, you can do this. I put together not 1, but 10 handouts for classes within the last 6 months for this program to promote digital literacy, to help people learn how to use computers and learn how to
Ms. Arena,
help
thank you so much for that, all that you've done. Yeah. I mean, the time's expired, okay?
Very important. I mean, this is just a taste of what this library does
I appreciate
for this community.
that. I mean,
we don't need somebody taking over and changing what is perfect for this library and for this community.
Thank you.
This library serves this community in so many ways.
And I think everybody feels that same way.
Absolutely.
Let's get one more, Mr. Timms, I believe. Is that right? And then we're going to get, because we got 9 council members that probably want to say something, so it could double up here. So, Mr. Give us your name and address, please.
Brian Timms, 27670 Red Oak Road.
I got something prepared to say. I'm not going to linger too much. Government accountability is the bedrock of our Constitution, to hold government accountable to the people. This is what makes our country great. The library board members are solely accountable to the parish council who appoint them. They are not elected officials. They are appointed. They directly reflect the will and the policy of those who appoint them. Several of those board members have disregarded any attempt of accountability. Mr. Delap, you and I had a disagreement at the last council meeting about how a council member should deal with board appointees. Your board member has shared thoughts to me personally that I find abhorrent regarding sexually explicit material available to children, and it is there. And I do not believe she represents your positions appropriately. You insist it is not your place to micromanage your appointee. I respect the disagreement. I insist if you don't hold your appointee accountable, who will? The board members do not speak for or on behalf of the people. They speak for the councilmen who appoint them. If a councilman isn't willing to take action regarding a board member, then that board member is a government individual with zero accountability, and this is simply unacceptable. I am thankful to Councilwoman Sandifer for bringing these issues to light. I am thankful to Councilman Talbert for taking this seriously and taking action. I encourage the rest of you to do the same as you see fit. Attorney General Jeff Landry has shared his opinion that you have the right to take action. It is my opinion that it is your responsibility to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Okay, hold on.
I didn't even use all my 3 minutes.
Well, I know, but trust me, everybody else used your 3 minutes, okay? Let's turn it down. And Abby, no.
Qualifications, that's what they were
You know, but we're not taking action on this tonight, evidently?
The qualifications you're going to require of the library board member.
Okay, sit down, Abby, sit down right now. Sit down. This is it. The public hearing is done. It's the council going to talk now, and that's what it's going to be. I'm asking you to sit down. Is there anyone else up here that has something to say?
Well, kind of.
Sir,
Mr. McMorris.
If it's okay, Chairman. So, Ms. Elsley, I think it was, with the emails, I do apologize if nobody else answered you, but I did reach out to you on Monday, and I wrote to you, hey, what I had here was what I look at every day to study up to get ready for these meetings. If you look here on red, it says, we need to reappoint Ben Cass, and then we need an address for Mr. Larry Davis. That's what I had to go by. Then you came back and asked me another question, so I went and sent another email out asking please to answer the question for us, what are we fixing to vote on? Because without that information, I have no idea what I'm coming here to get a hold to tonight, right? Yep. So I apologize to you if you did misread my email. Yes, ma'am. And that's the information I had. I called the council chair, I called the chairmans, I called the council ladies. I couldn't get that information, so I couldn't pass it on. I had to call 12 people back to apologize because I lied to everybody, because I told them what we was going to be doing tonight, and it was incorrect. So wanted to get that straight right off the bat. Now, for the appointment right here, John, I got another minute. I'm timing.
Take your time. I probably snapped too much already.
So I would have to sit here and do something else for this board. Why pull her off tonight? I mean, I'm replacing her tonight. Let her stay on this board. So think about that until the time comes.
All right.
I'll be quite honest. Until
Mr. Talbot, you got the floor. Go ahead.
I'm just answering Mr. McMorris.
Make it quick.
I just want
Make
to
it
answer
quick.
Mr. McMorris' question. I don't want Ms. Henson to vote on the next director. If I haven't made an appointment by that time, I don't want her to vote on the next director.
Okay, Mr. King,
That's
Mr.
my reason I want to
Curringhouse.
take her tonight.
I think the parish we lost a good director, library director. That's just my opinion. And I can tell you, I don't have an appointment to the library board. But if I did, Francine would be my appointment. But I'm
No, that's all right. I'm not rushing.
now, as far as, I hear you. I'll be quick. As far as Mr. Talbert's, he wants to take action on his appointment. And you're right, to some degree, we are all responsible for our appointments. If I tried to censor Mr. Talbert on his appointment, he'll do it to me. And he doesn't have any business sticking his nose in who I appoint. So I can't do it to him. I don't have to agree with it. I don't. But, he is responsible for his appointments, as we all are. So that's just my opinion on that.
Anyone over on this side?
I think he just covered what I wanted to say.
Pardon?
I think he just covered what I wanted to say.
Okay.
I agree.
Was there a motion that you had, Gary, or?
Motion was to remove, and add a second.
All right. And I know some people want to talk about the qualifications for hiring but this is not an issue for the qualifications for, Miss Abby, I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Come on up if you would.
What I was saying was the qualification, I'm speaking straight to you. The qualifications, there is no qualifications to be on the board, okay? On any board, unless it is for like gravity drainage, and because you get an income from that. But as far as even recreation board, you're in charge of $1 million budgets. You're not have qualifications for that. And if we want to go as far as anything else, whenever you go to the school board, you know what the qualifications to be on the school board is? Anybody know?
18? You gotta be.
You have to be able to read and write. So these are the people that are hiring these teachers and librarians and everything. So that's your qualifications. The qualifications also would be great to have a business person, someone who has started a library before for in poor communities. It's not just certified librarians or teachers. It is someone that represents the community as a whole. But there is no qualifications set in stone, no laws, no degrees that you have to serve on a controlled board. Thank you.
Thank you,
Just
Ms.
want to
Abby.
clarify.
All right, so I think, Mr. Talbert, you had a motion. What is your motion exactly?
Remove Ms. Henson.
And leave it vacant. Is there a
Leave it
second?
vacant until
Second, did you second that, right?
Talbert,
Mr. King seconded that. All right, you want to call for the vote?
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Gillette?
No.
Mr. Mack?
Yeah.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. McMorris?
No.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Pass.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is, where were we at here?
Since we own this, I got one that needs to be reappointed, if we could go ahead and do that.
We can do it. You
I
know,
want to second it.
I want to reappoint Mr. Ronnie Bencas.
I want to second it.
all right, reappoint Ronnie Bencas,
Yeah.
seconded by Mr. Shane Mack. Any discussion? Mr. Mark Morris?
He was my principal. I like that second job.
Up to late.
You gonna third it?
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I would reappoint Kathy DeGeneres, but her time's not here, so. All right, item 16, introduction of an ordinance. This is, again, put on the council by Mr. Gary Talbert. This would be banning TikTok on all parish computers. Mr. Talbert.
So, y'all aware that TikTok and WeChat have been in the news over ownership of Chinese, owned by the Chinese government, Chinese corporations, and the harvesting of information that they've done. There have been moves throughout different parts of the country to ban it. So I'm suggesting that the Livingston Parish Council ban TikTok on parish-related parish computers and cell phones, and the WeChat app on parish computers and phones and related entities of the parish, which would include the library, health unit, some of those other things that we fund. And it doesn't go into, I mean, Sandy's gonna need to read it, but it doesn't go into effect for 30 days, which gives everybody from the time it is voted on, after we've had the public hearing and the parish president signs it, 30 days from that, before it'll actually come into effect. So there'll be plenty enough time to clean computers of the app.
All right.
Just an introduction.
Mr. McMorris, is that a motion?
Well, it's just an
Well,
introduction. She got to read it by title,
Well-
and I don't know if we need a motion to introduce. or-
Before we do, is there, would you, if, I'd say if you don't make a motion, then, I mean, let's read it by
If we
title.
got a motion to introduce, I'm gonna make a motion to introduce.
Okay, is there a
If we need
second? Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, second by Mr. King. You want to read by title?
Proposed ordinance 23-08, an ordinance to amend Chapter 50 offenses miscellaneous by creating Section 50-17 government device access of the Code of Ordinances and in and for the parish of Livingston as set out more specifically herein. The public hearing is March 23rd, 2023.
All right, we have motion and second. Quick, anyone discussion?
Yes, me.
Mr. McMorris.
So I got another question here, TikTok. So I tried to do the history background. What is our state doing? What is our government doing for TikTok and the Chinese? Are they working this now? They working it in the Senate? Or what's coming up this coming time, right? Huh?
It's going to be in session.
It's going to be in session. I'm going to say it one more time. Why should we, as a government entity, get involved with that right now? That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I understand. Is
So
there
I'm gonna
someone,
leave it
Mr.
like that.
Girlinghouse? or-
Yeah, I had something to
You
say.
had something?
Because it's an introduction, I mean, I'm for, I have to think about this and how far reaching this is, you know? It seems straightforward, but then the more you know how things are, the more you look at it, you go, well, what does this affect? So I'm going to be to clarify, I'm going to be for Mr. Talbert introducing this because he has the right to. He's a sitting councilman. I'm going to reserve my decision on this for 2 weeks from now, so.
Okay.
Not to confuse my affirmative vote tonight for being an affirmative vote later.
Mr. Deland had something?
I agree with Mr. Girlinghouse. I think Mr. Talbot should have the ability to introduce it. But I'm totally against it. There's no way for us to regulate this or to police it. And I'm going to be honest with you, Frog. I think you don't give a damn about the library. I think...
Come on.
I think this is a political stunt, and you're going to continue to do political stunts to improve yourself to get elected. And that's not what this board is for. If you wanted to introduce it, in the past, when I tried to introduce stuff, it had to go through to the ordinance committee. You have bypassed the ordinance committee every time you've been here. We're not going to be able to get anything accomplished for the people if all we're trying to do is bully and satisfy our ego.
All right, listen, I am absolutely, as of right now, from what I know about this TikTok ban, I'm absolutely against banning. If you do that, you might as well ban Facebook, YouTube, the internet. You just can't do it. That's ridiculous. That's how I feel. But it should have not even come to this council before it went to the artist committee, because if you keep introducing it in every meeting, we're just going to have to keep having these discussions, and we're just wasting time. So I'd say get this thing to the artist committee. If you can't convince them, don't waste the parish
Mr.
council
Chair,
time.
I'll make a substitute motion to send it to the ordinance committee.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Delat.
Hey, can I make a comment? There was a question. John, the governor has banned it in the executive branch of government already. The feds are banning it currently. School boards across the country have banned it. And basically, if a parish computer has TikTok on it, then it's been discussed that it gives Chinese access to parish data. It's that simple. But if y'all want to send it to ordinance, send it to ordinance.
Okay, well, let's call for the vote.
I mean, if that's what y'all want to do.
Well, we're going to find out if we're going to do that. Would you call for the vote?
Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Delat?
Yes.
Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. McMorris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
This is to send it to artist committee, right? Yes, all right.
You had to be sure.
I'm voting for it. I'm like,
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, ordinance hadn't met. We had to go to basketball games, so we didn't get to meet this week. Am I
okay,
correct?
I understand.
I mean, so there's a reason that sometimes things don't go to ordinance.
I understand. Item 17, adopt a resolution to request that the planning department allow existing use for Green Meadow Mobile Home Park located in Council District 9. Mr. Mack.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to try to go fast. Okay, so this is an existing trailer park. It's in my district. It's off of Florida Boulevard. I don't know if you know where Edna Kitchen Road is, but it's right there on the corner of Edna Kitchen and Florida Boulevard. It's about 7 acres. And the property owners have met with planning, and they're okay with treating this as an existing trailer park as long as they follow the rules such that they need to be followed when it comes to sewer systems and things of that nature, base flood elevation of trailers and things of that nature. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tracy. I can answer some more questions if you have them. But basically, this is future planned to be zoned in as a trailer park. And it was established, I think, somewhere around 1998. So I'm asking that the council basically, I guess, pass a resolution to allow them to be treated as an existing trailer park.
Until it gets zoned.
Well, yeah.
And
And follow the rules that was recommended by the planning department to move forward with
a trailer park.
This trailer park.
I have motion.
Yeah, that's a motion.
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Talbot?
I got a question.
Well, let's get a second first. I got a second by Mr. Deline.
I think, didn't Randy, didn't you second it? So why do we, if it's an existing trailer park, why do we have to pass a resolution asking planning to treat it as existing trailer park? So is it a bootleg trailer park? Do we want to make a real trailer park because they didn't follow the rules originally? I'm just trying to figure this out.
Let's see what Randy's got to say about it.
Well, I mean, it's your district. You don't know what it's about?
Well, the answer, but he asked me to let him reply.
I got some history on it. Mr. John Zeba, our sanitary, used to have this trailer park. He passed away. They did what's the proper term when you divide it? Succession. His daughter now has this trailer park, and she's ready to move trailers in here. She's gonna abide by all the new rules that we have put forward. And the planner's not gonna give her a break or anything, but we have to give a waiver saying that we can do that according to planning. Yeah. You wanna take it over from there then?
Yeah. Is anybody got any questions?
Any more questions?
The resolution's not gonna hurt anything if we
Thank
do.
you.
It's just a resolution, so
Yeah.
I'm just curious why we just don't grant a waiver. But okay, look, I'm good. That was my question.
Had a motion by Mr.
It was recommended by Sam to do this, is why we're doing it.
Okay, I'm good with
Second by
that.
Mr. Lant. You have one more question, Mr. Talbot, or are you good?
So it is an existing trailer park. Is that?
Still got the pass, still got everything. They're gonna have to be some changes in the sewer, and they have to abide by the new sewer.
What about like the lights and electrical and fence and concrete? Is all that gonna have to be upgraded to meet the new standard?
Yes, they will, but the neighbor's gonna get, only one neighbor's gonna give them a waiver and not have to put the fence up.
So just sign a letter of no objection.
They gotta abide by the rules of a new trailer park right now without having to go through the planning process and do drainage impact study and retention pond and all that other stuff.
They're not doing a drainage impact study. This is going to be treated as an existing trailer park.
They've already made the pads.
They've already.
They just never moved the trailers.
It's existing.
Right?
And look, I want to go ahead and say this. I think there were 7 trailers originally. This is only for the 7 original trailer spots. Any additional trailer spots, any additional improvements to the property would have to go back and follow all that new requirement.
Mr. Caroline, would you call for the vote, please?
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Delat?
Yes.
Mr. Mack?
Yeah.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. McMorris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Mr. King? Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Item 18, adopt a resolution to authorize a second address for 26985 James Chapel Road, North Holden. This is in Mr. Mack's district also.
Yeah, so let me go quickly run through
Thank
this.
you.
So, Mr. Chris Pacey lives on James Chapel. He has a parcel of property. It's a fairly large piece of property. I don't know the exact acreage, but just by visual look, it looks like it's over an acre to me. His son has a house on the property. He's working to remodel that house. He's going to be living in that house. And Mr. Chris wants his sister to be able to have a second address on this piece of property. There's plenty of room for another house on this piece of property. He wants to not subdivide the property, just apply for a second address, okay? The law says that you can have one extra address per parcel of property for, I guess you could say, kinfolk. But what I come to learn is that they said it had to be direct ascending or descending, which would mean his sister wouldn't qualify for that extra address. So I would like to, make a motion, we pass a resolution, give him the waiver to allow his sister to be able to have that parcel of property.
Motion by Mr. Mack, seconded by Mr. Delat. Any discussion? You want to call for the vote on this one, Ms. Caroline?
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Delat?
Yes.
Mr. Mack?
Yeah.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Grayling-House?
Yes.
Mr. McMorris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes. Item 19, committee reports. The first one is Finance Committee. Mr. Delat has the chairmanship of that. And how'd that go today?
We had a meeting today, and we had, all the finances look good, like Mr. King used to say. We had no red flags. We had a couple questions that was asked. There was some money that has been being paid based on a Bodie White bill since October for supplement pay for JPs and constables. JPs and constables feel like that bill was passed for them to receive that supplemental pay of $240 a month for 1 year only. The parish government or parish government administration has feel that they don't have to pay the individual that money because they're already overpaying them. Is that how she said it? Already paying more.
That's right.
So that's now an issue that we may want to take up if y'all want, but.
Ordinance Committee, Mr. Mack?
Hey, excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Randy, it was something else sprung up about, the question was asked
Yes,
about
correct.
Miss Abby Crosby.
Norte.
The Norte?
Yeah.
When should we address that? Would that be
Good
something
point.
for the next meeting, or that's something we need to address?
It's a good
Look at
point.
the agenda and do it now?
No, it's a good point, though. We said we was going to address it in the ordinance committee, but since that time, Miss Jennifer, in between meetings, came back, and she says the contract says that they owe us a backup anytime we want to, and they can't charge us the $6,000, and she's going to get the contract and
Deal.
find out.
All right. Is that it, Randy?
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Mack, Ordinance Committee? No meeting, right?
No, we're meeting in the future.
Okay, but no previous meeting to report on, correct?
I just want to say, the next ordinance committee meeting is on the 14th at 5:30. We're going to be discussing the multifamily setback. There's a little discrepancy in our multifamily ordinance that we need to fix. Nothing major, it's really simple. The zoning classifications, Mr. Eddy came to the last last ordinance committee meeting. We're working on tweaking the uses within their classifications, and we've got a final document with some definitions and things. We're gonna be looking at that. We're gonna talk about this TikTok ordinance that we just voted to send to the ordinance committee. And then coming up in the future, we're gonna talk about a dirt field ordinance and some other things, so stay tuned, it's gonna be good.
Stay tuned. All right. District Attorney reports. I spoke with Mr. Moody today. Because we moved the council meeting from Thursday to today, Tuesday, him and Brad both were tied up, so yeah, he told me they wasn't going to be here tonight. We did speak about another specific thing. Mr. Moody told me that working with the ladies in the office and as being chairman, he said, John, it would be really good if you put together a personnel committee that would act as a buffer between the parish and council and the parish employees. So if the employees have a problem, they can go to this personnel committee. They can work out grievances or something with the personnel committee. Also, the personnel committee would make recommendations to the parish council as far as, and watch to make sure people are punching clocks good, and just kind of an oversight. And then they would make recommendations for discipline, termination, hiring, and stuff like that. So I put together a personnel committee that the parish council employees would talk to. That would be Ms. Erin Sandifer, Mr. Randy Delat, and Mr. Gerald McMorris. And I've asked Ms. Erin would chair the meeting, and well, but y'all could decide that among yourselves. I'd like to pull the executive session discussion. I talked with Chris. He said he had nothing to talk about as far as settlement or termination, so I'd like to pull that item. Last one before the adjourn would be councilman comments. I think Mr. McMorris. Let's start on the end.
Let's start on the end.
Mr.
So I had to sit there and listen to our co-chair speak out of turn. No, wait a second. It's councilman comments. I'm gonna make my damn comment.
All right, go ahead.
He sat there and said that I didn't give a damn about the library. You don't know what my intentions are. You think you know what my intentions are. I'm gonna tell you what I know what your intentions are. I know for a fact you voted for every damn subdivision that came before this council for 3 freaking years. You didn't complain about any of them.
Gary?
Wait a second, John. This councilman comments, man. Till they put one in your district, and then all of a sudden you want to change some rules.
I can take it.
Then you want to talk about wetlands. You want to have this wetlands provision, but every time somebody wants to waive it, you glad to waive it. You bring it up here. I want to waive the wetlands letter. What's the purpose of putting it in, Randy? You the one that wanted the wetlands in there.
I can answer you.
Yeah, we're not going to answer. It's a councilman comment.
I can answer.
Are you got your business out?
So the fact of the matter is, I do care about the library. Miss Sandifer brought it to us. We all passed a resolution. I spent my own money to go figure out some problems that existed in that.
Okay, hold on. Real quick, Mr. Botta, did y'all ever have meetings like this in St. James Parish?
All the time.
Huh?
You putting him on the spot.
Okay, let's real quick. Mr. McMorris?
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes?
I gotta go.
This will be the fastest meeting we've ever had.
No, just hang tight, guys. I'd like to invite all Livingston Parish to come out on March the 18th. We're going to be meeting at the Ambets Hall in Springfield, Louisiana. What's this going to be about? This is going to be concerning our lake and the carbon monoxide they're going to be putting up underneath the lake. So you want to learn what's happening in the lake, what we can do as a community to try to protect our lake? Come. We got the General Honoré, if you all know him. He's going to be there. He's going to be speaking to us. We got speakers from everywhere's coming. We invite you to come because you can be our vote to help us stop this. And if you get elected, we need you. We need any representative, because we got about 5 representatives that throwed us up underneath the bus with this going in. You got a governor that's running, a woman running for governor that pushed this through. So be there, help us out. All right. Monday, March 13th, I have a zoning for District 6. If you don't want me to zone your property, come tell me what you want. I have had 2 meetings so far, had great turnouts. I need you here. I don't want to have to tell you what you need to do with your property. Come here, let's talk about it. Let's make a good decision with how we need to move forward, okay? That's going to be Monday, March 13th, 6 o'clock here in the chambers. All right, you kind of stole my thunder earlier, so I'm gonna bring it back up. So Frank Sullivan High School is going to the state championship in Lake Charles on Wednesday, where they will be hosting number 3 Winfield at 6:15 p.m. for the semifinals. As the 4th team, there'll be 4 teams left. 2 will play Wednesday, 2 will play Friday, and then we'll play the championship on Saturday. And that game will start at 4 o'clock on Saturday when we're going to play for the state championship. Mr. Gerald Keller was the last person to ever win a state championship at our high school. That was in 1966. Great friend of mine, so kudos to him. Coach Bourgeois had joined our school, and I'm like the lady in the back. I kind of got emotional with Mr. Gerald Keller. Jay Bourgeois. Jay Bourgeois started with these kids 4 years ago as freshmen. He's built this team. Kudos to Jake and his hard work for his dedication with the ball team. He made this championship team. Like I said before, I'm a former Prince Sullivan Lion. Go Lions.
That's it. Mr. King, did you have some?
Yeah.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
I'm good.
I'm going to skip Mr. Randy. Take it easy, Randy.
I am. Look at me, Mr. Talbot. Take your medicine. You asked a question. You asked a question, sir.
Well, just comment, not question.
Okay. Well, he asked a question about the density, and he asked about the...
I didn't let you answer.
And he asked about...
a question about wetlands.
Wetlands, okay. Let's start with the wetlands. I gave a waiver to people with wetlands that divide their lot. We only have that in there because we was trying to slow down the mega developments. We was trying to put rules in place to protect the citizens that already live here against the big major developments. You kept putting the same rules that we put on mega developments for the people that already live here, the mom and pops. You care about the people of our parish about as much as what you care about the library. Your actions speak for yourself. You can hire all the private investigators you want to hire. You can flaunt your money around. You can bully anybody you want, but your actions speak for yourself, sir.
All right, Mr. Rainey, thank you so much. Let's, Ms. Erin Standiford, we're working our way to the end of these councilman comments.
I do. I just want to recognize Livingston Parish DPW and Gravity Drainage District 1. I have been out and about in District 5 looking at drainage, ditches, waterways, everything, and these guys and gals are working their tails off for our district. And thank you so very much, DPW and Gravity Drainage District 1, Clint Persick and Sam DiGirolamo, as well as Wesley Kennebrew. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. R., did you have a councilman comment? Good.
Yeah, I just can't believe that Mr. Garlinghouse let this slip by. But Thursday night, the Walker boys basketball team is also in the Final Four. And if we win, we will have 2 teams from the parish playing Saturday for the state championship in basketball. This is Walker's 6th year in a row to make it to the Final Four. You know, our girls lost out in the Final Four, but we were extremely proud of them. And I'm going to start short of taking your thunder because I know you're going to talk about your girls.
Mr. Mack?
Thanks for throwing me under the bus like that. Oh, by the way, real quick.
Go ahead.
Happy birthday, Shane.
Shake
Oh,
that.
happy birthday.
Happy
Shane.
birthday.
I do hope Prince Selmet wins.
Don't get teary. Don't choke up.
I remember Mr. Gerald. He was the coach. I played. He was a good man. I hope they win in memory of him. All right, I'm gonna straighten up. Okay. All right, so Albany Hornets, man, we played for the state championship the other night. We played a really, really good team, and we came up a little bit short, but they state runner-ups. They had a very successful season. I'm very, very proud of them. Go Hornets.
Good job.
And I also want to say that I do hope Walker Wildcats, I love to watch the Walker Wildcats boys play basketball, and then they're so talented, a lot of them go on to play college basketball. So I like to watch them as they go through college, too. I like to say that's a Livingston Parish guy right there.
Good for them.
Playing with
Prince Solomon got one who's pretty good right now.
We got one?
Yeah, they got one too.
He does.
I think, go
And
ahead.
then just talking,
No, go ahead.
let's get back to parish business here. So if the chambers aren't already taken up on 3/30/2023 at 6 p.m., I'd like to have a Council District 9 town hall meeting to talk about zoning Council District 9. So I'm going to go follow up and make sure that the council chambers, are not already given away to someone else. But if they are, we'll make another announcement in our March 23rd meeting. We're going to have a zoning meeting, town hall meeting, Council District 9 in the council chambers on March 30th, 2023, 6 p.m.
All right. I think Denham Springs is having their first Mardi Gras parade. Scooter, do you know?
St. Patrick's Day.
Patrick.
Yes.
Thank you, Scooter. I know.
March 18th.
Just a different color green.
Next item on the agenda would be to adjourn the city council, parish council. Mr. Ard makes that motion. Seconded by Mr. Garlinghouse. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.